We would look for a way of doing this without falling into the problems that existed with the Liberals' version of this, but we are starting with a definition of what I'm calling an obligation of result. For the NDP, the obligation of result is that the police are able to track every gun. That has to be there both for public protection and for protection of the police themselves.
Would the NDP bring back the long gun registry if they formed government? It depends on who you ask. Party leader Thomas Mulcair says yes, absolutely yes. But NDP MP Charlie Angus doesn't agree. Here's what he told his local newspaper. When I read that headline, I literally banged my head on the desk. There's no registry coming back because the cost would be enormous. The response from people in rural Canada was they don't want it. Criminal defense lawyer and firearms law expert Solomon Friedman joins me now in Ottawa. Mulcair was clear. Bring back the registry. We'll just make it better than the Liberal one. It's like Gun Registry 2.0 or new and improved, like a bottle of Tide.
Yeah, and I think there may be a saying about polishing a turd in there somewhere. But the truth of the matter here is it's very clear that no one's given an actual, a fresh policy perspective to any of this. It doesn't appear that Mulcair's really thought through any of the implications. I mean, the main problem was that it didn't work. A new one isn't going to work. And the other problem is that it cost $2 billion, and a second one would cost at least that.
We've seen the stats out this week on homicides in Canada. The murder rate's fallen. The number of murders with guns, down. Most of the gun murders, 68%, committed with handguns. Those are still registered, although I'm betting most of the ones used in the murders were not registered.
No, absolutely not. And it's also very interesting that this is coming in the wake of a recent decision from the Superior Court that found as a matter of evidence that the long gun registry has done nothing to prevent violence against women or gun-related homicides. So this is really coming with absolutely no evidentiary basis.
All right, I want to ask you about that because the opposition parties and the media, and I know it's often tough to tell them apart, they are using the 25th anniversary of the École Polytechnique, the Montreal massacre, to say we need the new gun registry or Bill C-42, the common sense firearms law, that's going to put women at risk. Let me ask you about both of those. Would a new gun registry protect anyone? And will this new firearms law, which simplifies licensing, protocols and paperwork, doesn't get rid of anything, will that make people less safe?
Brian, that's the right question to be asking here. I'm a criminal lawyer, and as an advocate, I deal in facts, I deal in reality, and I deal in evidence. And the evidence is overwhelmingly clear. Peer-reviewed study after peer-reviewed study. Even the Liberal government's own Auditor General, Sheila Fraser, put it very simply. There is no link whatsoever between positive public health outcomes, that is, homicide by firearm, violence against women, and our entire gun control scheme, never mind just the gun registry. So, this may be a very noble goal to try to protect individuals, protect women from violence, but we're going at it completely the wrong way if we think a gun registry is going to do one iota of good.
Okay, you're a criminal defense lawyer. You have defended people who have used guns illegally.
Absolutely.
Before. Okay.
Yes.
Do they register them? If we're talking about criminals, about gangsters, or people that are robbing stores or drug dealers, are they registering their guns?
I'd say they do so in about the same proportion as drug dealers report their income to CRA and put their occupation as crack slinger. So we know that doesn't happen. Criminals, by definition, cannot obtain guns legally in this country.
We saw that this week. We had a Mountie shot in British Columbia, and the person that did it has a criminal record, including manslaughter conviction. So he was barred from owning a gun. He still got one. A gun registry wouldn't have stopped that.
And this actually, it totally misses the real focus of that the issue should really be taking at this point. And it's my biggest problem with the gun registry. The gun registry's biggest problem isn't that it was useless. It was that it was harmful because it misdirected resources and focus from illegal guns that are smuggled in from other countries and used in violent crime, to guns that are peacefully in the hands of law-abiding gun owners.
You know what it reminds me of? Thomas Sowell, the brilliant American academic and economist. He tells a story about the French police follow a criminal into a building, and they get there, but they don't have enough officers to surround that building, so they surround the building next door because it's smaller, because they have enough officers to do that. They don't know how to tackle the real problem, so they go after the problem they know how to deal with, because most gun owners, like yourself, are going to say, okay, well, if I have to do it, otherwise I'm in violation of the law, I will do that. They're picking on the easy target.
Totally, and that's why I've said over and over again, including to Parliament, that gun control is a public policy pacifier. It makes people feel good, and it makes governments look good, but it accomplishes absolutely nothing when it comes to public safety.
Bill C-42, before we're out of time, because we're having a great chat here, but I want to play Justin Trudeau on Bill C-42. This is the new law or proposed bill that would make paperwork easier for law-abiding gun owners. We'll roll that and get Solomon's reaction.
We will not be able to support C-42. First of all, because of the loosening of transport regulations, which means that it would be very possible for, in any given supermarket parking lot, for firearms to be in the trunks of a car and therefore easily accessed by criminals. We feel that the classification of firearms, particularly what is an assault rifle and what is not, should be left to proper police authorities and not to politicians.
All right, Solomon, quick reaction on those 2 points. A gun that I'm not allowed to have in the trunk of my car as I go to the arena or the shopping mall, would I be allowed to under this new law if it passes? And B, should police be the ones who decide what people can own and can't own, or should that be up to our elected officials?
You know, any Canadian who watches that clip can tell pretty quickly that Justin Trudeau actually clearly doesn't know what he's talking about. This law, and you can read it, the text is out there on the internet for everyone. It's fantastic. It's 2014. Number one, it doesn't change the places where you can legally take guns. That's false. Number two, as of today, it's politicians that can classify guns. Police only give a technical opinion about it. That hasn't changed. We want the classification of firearms to be in the democratic realm. We don't want police doing that. And Justin Trudeau may believe otherwise, but I think the overwhelming majority of Canadians do not support that view.
Solomon Friedman, great as always. Share your thoughts on this story. Facebook.com/Brian Lilley. That's where you'll find me. Thousands of great Canadians joining the conversation. Why don't you? Click the thumbs up like button while you're there. More to come.